So there's three really important things going on in Ireland at the moment, and obviously one of them has to do with work, right, and jobs. And for about 50,000 people directly in Ireland, that involves the pharmaceutical industry, right? And now you have Donald Trump and America who are trying to put themselves and their country in the best position possible, which means they are explicitly trying to get these companies to move back, or to make it financially worth the while of these companies to move back and to produce in America, right? Where does this leave Ireland? These tariffs are coming in the next few days. So more than likely, you will have these pharmaceutical companies decide that it's more profitable for them to pick up sticks and go, right, and go back to America and make their business there, which is going to leave, as I said, 50,000 people at least out of pocket. Some might go to America with them, right? Some of that workforce might decide to leave Ireland, as these companies might want to bring them with them because they're experienced people, they know the ins and outs of it, right? But you could have at least 50,000 people who are unemployed now in Ireland. The second story then, these things all kind of look like they're just, here's a story, there's a story, there's a story, this happened, that happened, and then these people did this, right? But you can see, if you're paying attention, there's a pattern here, right? Around in the last few days, the government has come out and said that social welfare payments will now be changed or altered, I would imagine, for new claimants, right, to coincide with what a person was previously making in their last salary or their last wages, right? Up to about 450 euros. So it looks like they're preparing for mass unemployment. Great. Mass unemployment, right? And they have to keep these people sweet. Why? Because the last thing this government needs, and I think it would be the debt of the government, and they know this, is 20, 30, 40, maybe 50,000 people, and those are just the workers, right, at the gates of the Dáil, demanding this government just go, because they have allowed this to happen, right? Not only did they allow it to happen, they've nearly facilitated it, right? They've been incredibly antagonistic. They have shut people down from talking or offering any sort of official, right, counter narrative to what the nonsense they're spinning, right? They're two-faced. They've portrayed themselves as such, and it looks like they're sitting on this time bomb that's about to go off who knows when, right? Not only that, but they're pushing for war in Europe, right? Which leads me on to the third story, which is, and this is not Ireland specific, it's been kind of thrown out across the EU for all EU people, European people, to begin to prepare and to squirrel away at least 3 days worth of supplies. Why? Multiple reasons: potential Russian invasion, cyber attacks, some new virus, right? There's a load of potentials out there that have been given for this. And you can say, well, look, that's just scare tactics, and they want to kind of destabilize you and make you uncertain, and people that are afraid are they're more compliant, right? Scared people are more compliant. They're more easily controlled and managed when people are scared, because they're looking for something to alleviate that fear, right? So if you can scare up enough people and then offer them a solution, you have a friend for life, or up until the point where they're no longer afraid, right? And they begin to think again. So it could just be that, right? Or it could be two things. Two things can be true at once. So they could actually be expecting massive civil unrest in this country. And if you take your view away from just the basic stories here, right? Weather looks like it might get bad. Car crashes up the further up the other end of the country, and America bad, right? That's kind of what you get. And stay tuned for Home and Away, that sort of thing. But if you look back and you're realistic and honest about what's going on in this country, civil conflict seems inevitable, right? I've seen another story recently of essentially the ghettoization of Ireland, right? The parts, streets, states, parts of Ireland that are now solely occupied by people who are not Irish, right? So Irish people now have part of their homeland where it's just not advisable to go. It's a no-go area, right? We remember over the years, if you've been listening or whatever, paying attention yourself, that Sweden and Germany have had these no-go areas for many, many years now. And at the start, it was like, well, there's no such thing. Where's your research? Where's your peer-reviewed research to show me that there is a no-go area? Go there yourself, right? So these things were built as lies or exaggerations by the native racist people, and then it turns out that they're actually true, right? It seems like this has started in Ireland already, right? And it's been kind of colloquially known in some areas, right? Waterford, you have Little Poland when you go over the main bridge, right? That kind of thing. And now you have Little Africa or Little Arabia. You'll have these issues, right? So the government now is in a predicament. They have put on the table up to €7 billion to fund the continued influx of people into the country. How do they benefit from that? They get a population that is totally dependent on the government. Which way are they going to vote? They're not going to bite the hand that feeds them, right? They're going to vote for those who pay them to be here, while also starting to push their own people into these political positions, right? Mayor, local councillor, up into the Dáil, right? So that benefits those that are in power. Now, the second part of that's causing an issue is the loss potentially of 50,000 jobs, right? So the government are going to be put into a position where they can either continue to fund the new arrivals here, take your money from here and give it to this person, right? In which case they're going to have disgruntled Irish people at the gates of the Dáil, probably in the tens of thousands. Or they can do what it looks like they're doing, and they can maybe start to pull away a little bit of this, right? The Ukrainian payment is coming down, that kind of things. And with that money, freed up money, they will increase people's social welfare, or they will increase social welfare for a subsection of people, right? To try and offshoot the pressure, or offset the pressure that comes with people who are making all right money in these pharmaceutical industries. They're making a lot more than €450 a week, right? But they're going to be downgraded to that now. Mortgage payments are going to be missed. Banks are going to swoop in, right? They're going to take the homes. More people are going to be homeless, right? So the government can decide that they will, and look, then these homes get sold again, and who do they sell them to? The never-ending chain of Indian people and foreign people that are queuing up and out-competing Irish people for homes, right? So there could be potential disasters on the way. So the government can either continue to fund these foreign people coming in here in whatever way they're funding them, or they can start to take away some of that money to make sure that Irish people continue to be fed, continue to be watered, continue to be clothed, and continue to be able to pay their bills and pay their mortgage so they can stay at home and keep a home for their family. Whichever way the cookie crumbles, you're looking at two very, very, very obviously competing factions in this country, which is Irish people and non-Irish people. And Irish, not as simple as that, right? But Irish people, long-standing people who've been in Ireland. Irish people, obviously Irish, and then people who've been here for a number of years who've made Ireland their home, right? I'm thinking like Polish people who've been here decades now at this stage, and other Eastern European peoples who've been here, right? And a growing number of English people who've been trickling into Ireland for a good number of years now, right? It's not unusual to hear an English accent around now. So you're going to have this side of the people and then the new arrivals who've been getting everything for free. If you've been continuously given something, think of a child or even a dog. If you've been continuously given things with no parameters around it to people, or dogs or children, whatever you want, and then you just take it away and give it to someone else, this spoiled side, this spoiled child or this ruined animal is going to just go and try and take that from the other group. This is obvious. These are behavior patterns that are blatantly obvious to people who've paid attention, right? But to regular Irish people who've just been kind of, their sphere of information is kind of based locally from themselves and their friends who tend to think the same and talk about the same things, to their family who might be a little bit different but similar enough that they maintain a relationship with. And outside of that then is just newspapers and the common consensus that hovers like a cloud above all of us, right? No one really knows who forms it, but it is there, right? And we dare not speak against it. So this is going to be totally alien to people, because it looks like we're going to have visited upon us ethnic conflict between people who have come from situations that are incredibly violent and hostile, where human life is not as respected as it is in Ireland, right? Or was in Ireland. That attitude, they'll be quicker going off the gun than Irish people will, right? So you could have serious issues in here in Ireland over the next few months. So while it might very well be a scare tactic, right, of saying, oh, we need 3 days supply, go get them, like COVID with the toilet paper, all that stuff. It could be a scare tactic, but it could be a scare tactic and also have an element of truth to it, right? That this government is preparing and is allowing, we might even say manufacturing, ethnic conflict in Ireland, the likes of which Irish people at the moment are not very prepared for. This will come as a massive shock to Irish people. Irish people are ill prepared for this. They probably don't have much experience to draw on in terms of one-on-one fights, let alone group skirmishes, right? Weapons, all that comes along with it, right? The total unpredictability of desperate human beings, because that's what's happening. We've been funneled into this. Goods are scarce, money is finite, obviously, and people might have to battle for these things. And I would suggest that while it might be a scare tactic and it could blow over, it would do no harm to be sensible, to be savvy, to always go with people if you're doing something. Go car sharing if you're going shopping. That sort of a thing, right? Because things could get a little bit hairy here in the next few weeks or few months. So look after yourself.